manufacturing to use and to recycling. So I'm going to give you some examples of what HP does at each of these stages of the life cycle for cartridges. So for design, HP started a formal Design for Environment program in 1991. And what that means is we have product stewards, product engineers that are focused on a product or a family of products, and they set the environmental goals for the product. And they follow that product all the way through its life. They set goals around energy efficiency, around materials innovation, like the use of recycled content, and they make sure that the product is designed so it can be recycled at the end of the life. And so with that program, we've made a lot of advancements. One is what you're seeing today is the closed-loop recycling process, where we can use the recycled content from HP Planet Partners into new cartridges. And so we've actually used 8.4 million kilograms of recycled material in 2013 back into new cartridges. And we've produced now more than 2 billion cartridges with recycled material. And so as I go, if you see some numbers, some metrics on here, but you want some more, I have a whole sheet with numbers. So I probably have the answer. Okay. If not, I can probably look it up. So another example of where our Design for Environment program made a difference is with our toner cartridges. And I mentioned this yesterday, but you might have some questions because it was kind of fast yesterday morning. So our toner has been reformulated so that it melts at a lower temperature. And that means that the product itself uses less electricity to heat up the fuser and fuse the toner onto the paper. And so it has savings of up to 35% of savings each page printed. And that has helped us reduce the overall energy used by our printers. So for manufacturing, our manufacturing facility is the one we're in today, and then our primary recycling facilities are ISO 14001 certified. So that's a voluntary international management system for environment. And that just means we have special procedures in place and we have to meet special audit requirements from an environmental perspective. Have you ever heard of ISO 14001?
No.
Okay, our environmental. All right, great. So use is the third stage of the life cycle, and this is actually the most important stage because it's where the most environmental impacts can happen. And HP ensures that our customers have the highest quality, print quality with HP cartridges. And because of that, customers don't have to reprint. Because if you reprint, your environmental impact goes up because you're wasting pages. And so that's really important about our cartridges. Do you have any questions about, have you heard of refilled cartridges or remanufactured cartridges?
Yes, actually. But why don't HP consider the use of recharging the cartridges? Because when we have to send the cartridge back, it's kind of a waste of the cartridge itself because it could be used many more times than just once.
Okay, that's the question I was waiting for. So, we have looked into that, and we've done studies on the remanufactured cartridges and the refilled cartridges that are in the market. And what we have found is that you just can't get the same quality. And so even we can't get the same quality if you use them again and you refill them with toner or refill them with ink. And so if you can't get the same quality, you end up having to reprint. And so we have, actually, you guys might like this, we have 2 studies. One study was a life cycle assessment study just on HP cartridges versus remanufactured cartridges. Does everybody understand remanufactured? Okay, everybody knows. And so what we looked at was from an entire life cycle perspective, from the manufacturing or the extraction of the materials from the earth if you're using new or the use of recycled plastic, all that from the point of manufacturing all the way through distribution and use and then recycling. we compared an HP versus a set of remanufactured cartridges that are sold in Latin America. And when you compared it over the life cycle, so of course the production uses less, is a lower environmental impact, because on the remanufactured side they're just reusing an HP cartridge and they're just refilling it. So that's less environmental impact. But then when you get to the use phase, and that's why I said the use phase is very important, is that with the cartridge that's been refilled or remanufactured, the print quality is much different. And so we have a number of third-party studies, and I can give you a brochure on this, and then it links to a really long study, like 40 pages or something. But it's all summarized in 2 pages. And it compares the print quality. And so we can determine how often a customer will have to reprint based on there's a lot of studies that are involved in like foundation for the life cycle assessment. Like we understand, how often does a customer just use something for themselves? And it can be kind of bad print quality. You know, it doesn't have to be great print quality if you're just going to use it to read your email or something.
Yeah.
And then we determine how often do they print for another employee. Like, here's someone for my coworker. And then how often do you print for someone outside of your company? And that needs to be very good quality, because you don't want to give a customer or someone outside of your company something that's bad quality. So we determined how often you have to reprint with an HP versus with the reman cartridge. And what we found is there's a big difference, and the numbers are all in the study. And when you take that in consideration in the whole environmental impact, the number of reprints for reman cartridge offsets the environmental savings of reusing the cartridge. So in every category in the life cycle assessment, and it's a life cycle assessment that's an industry standard assessment, so there's certain categories that everybody tests in a life cycle assessment, and it has to be reviewed by external partners and all this. And when you look at all of the areas that were tested, HP had the same or a lower environmental impact in every category than a reman cartridge, just because of the quality. Yes?
This is what we've seen so far. What we've seen so far means that if we try to refill the cartridges, we get less quality because of the design of the cartridges is made so that you get the best quality possible at the best pricing and what have you. Now, that being said, is HP looking into creating a different design that might allow refilling without impacting the quality? Is that going on?
I have a modification of the same question.
Yeah.
Have you pinpoint why is it?
So the nozzle technology, so where the ink shoots through, they're like 4 picoliters. They're super duper tiny. And we have tried, to make it so that we've looked at it, make it so you can refill it. And it's just the technology. It just handles a certain amount of use. And so then after that, the quality changes.
And it could be a new technology that you not use a cartridge at all, like the resinas inks that Xerox use, that you use a solid ink.
Oh, sure.
You don't have a cartridge, you don't have an impact.
So there's two things. I'll try to remember them both. So with solid ink, you don't have a cartridge and you don't have packaging. Well,
yes.
A little minimal packaging.
All the mess that we are discussing here.
So we've looked into that too, and Xerox uses solid ink.
Mm-hmm.
And with that product, the machine has to heat the solid ink. And so your environmental savings of using the solid ink are actually offset a lot by the amount of energy the printer uses. Mm-hmm. So the energy the printer uses is very, very high.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there's that one. Some advancements that we have made so today we're seeing cartridges that don't have the print head on them, and that now use recycled content. Mm-hmm. And so we have made it so the print heads last longer, but it's still, the technology of the cartridge It's still, you still get better quality by not remanufacturing or refilling it. So, but you know what I want to show you? I had a couple slides for backup in case I got your question. Is that remanufacturers also realize that the quality changes. So they only use, this is all one. They only use the cartridges most of the remanufacturers only use the cartridges one time. In fact, 70% of ink and 73% of toner are only remanufactured one time by a company that, if there's a company that remanufactures ink. Because they also find that they get a lot of complaints from their customers if they continually reuse the cartridge. The components just last for a certain amount of time. But HP, we are continually improving technology and working to, do the best thing for the customer. But right now we don't offer that.
And
Yes.
did you finish this?
Yeah. Katie, this was a long Okay, I'm missing another slide.
Does HP have any plan to convince the customers about this? Because I don't know if it's in entire Latin America, but in Brazil there is a huge difference on the price of manufactured from a new one. Like, it's huge. It's like 4 times the price.
Yes.
So that's why people really want to refill the cartridge.
Right.
That's why I am asking this.
Completing your
So,
question,
yeah.
there's a lot of difference between the business culture across the Latin America,
Yes.
But I can see just a one plan from HP for all the Latin America. How do you guys you work with it,
So we actually do have a special product just for Latin America.
Yeah, because to convince the customers, it's very difficult to convince them saying it's going to be with more quality and it's going to save the environment, unfortunately, because they just want to pay less for the cartridge. That's the problem.
Right. And so, of course, the first thing we talk about is quality. But in Latin America, we have a special, it's on the ink cartridge side though, and we have a low-cost ink cartridge, which is usually under $10, and it was designed specifically for the Latin America market, so that we can get the price down for the market.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's going to be
It's in the stores today.
It is?
Yeah, it's usually in Brazil. We visited a lot of stores in Brazil, and it was on the left, so you have the big cartridge display, and on the left it will.
But
say
this is the final price, or is without taxes?
It's usually under $10 for the final price, but
Okay.
I don't know in Brazilian dollars.
No, it's general.
You have the small and medium business that work with refilled pipe-wise,
Yeah.
And how do you guys gonna deal with it, with that companies that work with the pipe-wise,
The companies that refill and remanufacture,
Yeah.
it's fair competition. So, we just make sure that we have a product that our
they are very
customers
strong
want.
in Brazil.
Right.
Yeah, it's different because, like in Mexico, I don't know how it is in Mexico. It's the same thing,
Right.
They are underground.
Yeah, I think it's a culture problem. They use that because it's very expensive, as we say.
Right.
In Panama, fortunately, the price difference is only about 2 to 1, but still, it is
Still 2 to 1. Yeah.
It's still a considerable market. Now, I wanted to ask, how different may the cost per page be on the low-cost cartridges versus the higher capacity ones? How big is the price difference on the cost per page?
I don't know that answer.
Oh.
I can send a note to a colleague and ask for that.
Because the low cost cartridges only have the only difference is they have a little less ink, right?
Yes, maybe. I can check on that too. Okay. Okay. As long as they're not too hard.
I wish you were colder. Looking at the map where you have programs.
Oh yeah, we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. But I have a map.
Yeah, I see
Yeah, you look at all the materials.
several countries that you don't have a problem with.
Yep.
Call my attention, for example, Argentina. There is a big chunk of the South Zone. So, why is that? Why are the obstacles that you face when you are trying to play yourself to decide where I'm trying to
Okay.
this environment in the country?
Okay. So lead into the next section. And if you would like, maybe after this afternoon, I can get you the brochure on the Reman versus HP. And there's actually a couple of brochures. The one that is the study, and then one that's a survey of the remanufacturers. So on the recycling, you're gonna ask another question for you?
Yeah, because perhaps the other question falls into the
Okay. Okay.
The other question is, have you studied the possibilities that perhaps some of the savings could be based on education of the public through your own software? For example, we increase the world sometimes that by default your software footprint comes from the highest quality integrated.
Right.
And most of the people don't even know how to cook. And they print in high quality when they don't need it. It's just, as you say before, you need to put in an email or something like that.
Right.
So perhaps simplify the software for the public in a way that make it define how they use the package and so perhaps it's a simple trick in the software where people implement that. I suggest that.
Yeah. So the question here was, can HP do something so customers can use less ink when they print a page? And we actually do offer in the software draft mode. And so that's what a lot of customers do when they're just printing something for themselves. They'll go to draft mode and they'll use less ink that way.
Yeah, we realize that what happens is that doesn't come as a default.
No,
So the
because
people have
it
to
comes
be-
as regular mode and it's kind of right in the middle, and not in presentation or high quality mode, but it comes right in the middle.
That's why I said the simple software that says question to the customer.
What do you
Because
want?
not everybody, you have to
Right.
apply because we're taking that everybody does.
Yeah.
So the simple question will define how the software accommodates the printer and the user can.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
So
when the
it's-
driver's getting installed, that would be a good point to just ask, do you want me to make it the default,
Right.
for example?
So the second question that you were asking was about where we have HP Planet Partners and why don't we have it everywhere. So you can see we have HP Planet Partners in 8 countries in Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico is part of the U.S. program. We have ink and laserjet cartridge recycling in Brazil and in Mexico and in Panama. And then just HP laserjet cartridge recycling in the other countries, so Costa Rica, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, and Colombia. We have hardware recycling in 2 countries, in Colombia and in Brazil. And we are getting very close for hardware recycling in Mexico. And that will be in the next 3 months. We'll have hardware recycling offering in Mexico under HP Planet Partners name. And then in the next about 8 to 9 months, we will have hardware recycling in Peru.
I don't know if I'm seeing the color correctly on the Panama outline.
It's got ink and toner.
Okay.
It's right here.
Yeah,
Costa Rica is just toner.
Okay.
Did I get the color right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So what happened with Argentina otherwise?
So we have a phased approach for offering new programs in Latin America, and it actually takes quite a long time to get a new program launched in Latin America. We have to get approval from the government of each country, and right now we have the program in 50 countries across the world, and our cartridges are all classified as non-hazardous, and we can collect them from customers and we can transport them. In Latin America, you have to go through that process to demonstrate that it's non-hazardous and can be transported, and that just takes quite a long time. actually to go through that process with the governments. And so that's the reason why we don't have the program in all the countries. But we are slowly expanding. So Panama, we launched in February. Last year, we launched cartridge recycling in Ecuador. And then the year before, we launched in-cartridge recycling in Brazil. Actually, I was there in Sao Paulo, too.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
Good.
yeah.
I ask the question because perhaps there is something that we can educate and create a notion if you have also cosmetic oil or something. You know,
So the thing that can help the most, I think, is when people in the government see articles that customers are asking for recycling and that the program is supported, and then when we go in and we ask to be approved, then they have a favorable impression of it. So I think that's a great point. Any questions on where we have the programs? I have notes on when they all started too, if anybody has any questions on that. Okay.
Do they collect toner and ink cartridges and also hardware?
In Brazil? Yes.
Okay.
So if you go to HP, let's see, well, it's not on the next slide, it's on 2 slides from now, hp.com/LA/reciclar, you will find the list of Latin America countries, and then when you go into that list, you can see everything that we recycle. In Brazil, you just have to look on the right-hand nav bar to see hardware.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just in São Paulo?
No, it's throughout the whole country.
When's the next one coming up?
We don't announce before we go out, sorry. In case it slips.
Okay.
And so I think most of this we've talked about, that we offer it in 50 countries. Yeah?
Have you ever considered using other manufacturers' used consumables in order to build your own? I mean, to
Recycle
Yeah.
their cartridges. So our recycling process is specific to HP cartridges. And if we put another manufacturer's cartridge in our process, we don't know what kind of plastics they use. And so you could hear today that the plastic development was very fine-tuned. And we even had to have different development for the PET versus polypropylene. So we don't know their plastics, and we don't know their ink or toner. And so when we introduce a cartridge that's not HP's, it can contaminate the process. So we only take HP's. But we have collected and recycled more than 566 million cartridges. And so in 2013 alone, it was 62.6 million cartridges. But since 1991, it was 566. And this is important. So when a customer returns their cartridge to HP for recycling, none of them go to landfill. They all go through a recycling process where the materials are separated. Oh, we forgot to watch some videos, but we'll watch the videos at the end.
By the way, some companies, for example, give you a deposit on certain types of bottles.
Yeah.
Is there something like that for HP cartridges where you might get some sort of a discount on buying a new one?
Not in Latin America today. Although in Multimax that might happen. So they're not.
That would be great.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet, but
I'll ask them.
maybe let me find out for you so I don't get in trouble for that one.
Okay.
But we don't offer discounts in Latin America today. This is just like a fun fact, this was yesterday, you saw this. The amount of cartridges, you saw the wrapped around the world. This is the amount of cartridges that we've collected equals the weight of 47,000 orca whales. Kind of fun. So this is the URL that's specific to Latin America. You can get to all your countries from /recycle, hp.com/recycle. But from there, the websites, you can click on the map, but it's in English. And so if you go to this website, it's all going to be in Spanish or Portuguese. Mm-hmm. It's a little more, localized for Latin America. And this is an example of the Mexico webpage. And you can see here, in some countries, we have 2 options for recycling or for collecting cartridges. Customers can take them to the stores or they can send them in. And in all through Latin America, customers have to send in 5 or more at a time, and they use their own box, and they put them in their box, and then they call, or actually they go onto the website and request a pickup.
So if I have more than 5 cartridges, I can just log on there, and they'll come and pick it up to my office.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. We try to make it very easy. And what we found in the countries where we collect ink cartridges as well is there are more consumers buy ink cartridges, and so they don't have 5 maybe even in a year. So that's why we set up collection at retail stores. And so today in Brazil, we have over 300 retail locations.
The one for
All over the country.
Yeah, and you can see that if you go to
Doesn't
you know
matter.
this
Something
website.
like that? Okay.
And then it will show you by retailer, which retailers you can drop your cartridges off, and then you open it and it shows you all the locations.
Okay.
Yeah. And in Colombia, the locations are HP stores. And in the HP stores, customers can drop off their cartridges or their hardware computers or printers.
Is there one at Multimax?
Yes, the bin is at Multimax. I set it up myself.
I'm mentioning them on Twitter so they can...
Yeah, don't mention the discount yet at Multimax.
Oh, no.
There's some HP has a counterfeit program about the imitations of cartridge.
Yes.
How do you treat with that imitations of cartridge when they arrive to your recycle platform? Because they are very different, the materials are different.
Yeah.
This is garbage in your bowl.
Does the machine spit them out like...
Well, so our machines can identify them, but we also have people looking at them. And then we sort them out and take them out of the process, and they go to incineration. The counterfeit, any non-HP, goes to incineration or refilled.
Well, but it's an easy process to identify them.
It's an extensive process.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about refilled cartridges that might be contaminated with bad toner or ink?
We can identify those as well. Yeah. It was impressive to see how they identify them, yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So I have videos of the recycling centers that we can look at, but I can answer more questions first if you like. Think of anything else?
Maybe we could see the videos and we ask about the
Yeah, the
Yeah,
process.
later.